Minister of State for Home Affairs, Minister Chowdhury, President of the World Diamond Council, distinguished guests, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, allow me at the outset to express my deepest sense of honor and appreciation for your kind invitation to this conference. When I got the invite in Guangzhou, it was about 3 weeks ago, I think, at the Kimberley process. And I was wondering, we're in the afternoon of 2014, and I prepared to take some rest, having started well enough note in South Africa as a new minister in May, having gone through elections to become this minister. So one was feeling the pains of the exhaustion. However, I took deep reflection and asked myself, there must be something very serious that we are being convened at this stage, and perhaps I should consider the invitation. Secondly, remembering the role that India has played in the struggle for the liberation of South Africa, I had no choice but to come. Now, I come as a representative of producers. Africa today, apparently, Zimbabwe was built to be here, so I'm the lone voice around here. Nevertheless, let me just focus quickly on South Africa and then come to the region and then to the continent and international. Then I'll finish. I won't be long. I'm told I've got limited time. In South Africa, we continue to consolidate the environment, enabling for production of diamonds in our country. Secondly, we are exploring means and ways of beneficiating diamonds in the Republic. To do all this, we need political stability. And since 1994, we have enjoyed a very good political stability. It's not enough to have political stability in South Africa. We must have it also in the region. So South Africa is playing a role to stabilize Lesotho currently, which is an emerging producer of diamonds, suppliers. We are engaged with our colleagues in Zimbabwe to consolidate the peace that is there. Have been twice there already this year. We are in the DRC as part of the United Nations force. We have deployed our forces there to make sure that there is political stability on the continent as a whole and in SADC region in particular. Now, going to the world, I want to welcome the announcement that was made early this morning here about the unity of the diamond, both World Council, traders and producers, because I think it's important that we strengthen the institutions if we are to survive this that we've created. So, as a family, producers, traders, and the industry as a whole, we have to work laboriously to ensure that our differences do not make us so weak that we become replaced by the other emerging industries that have been referred to here earlier on, in the forms of the Ferraris and others. We initiated, hosted the very meeting of the Kimberley process in South Africa, and we want to make sure that that process is defended, is promoted, is strengthened, because it is our safeguard against the ills that in the first instance we sought to prevent. In this regard, South Africa is standing firm on the observance of the protocols that we have established over a period of time. And we want to appeal to member states to observe those protocols as we go into the next phase of the Kimberley process. We were a bit unhappy in Guangzhou because we felt protocols were not being properly observed. The result is we have got just one chairperson, there's no deputy there. Going into Angola next year, we don't have a deputy. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to take politics out of the diamonds and make sure that the industry is protected and insulated from the politics of power and weaknesses. That's the message I want to give today, and I thank you.
Now on to the Minister of State for Home Affairs for India, Haribhai Chowdhury, who has a very important perspective. I think often with industries like the diamond industry, there can be a predominance of interest in the mining ministers. But let's not forget that India has 2.5 million people involved in the gem and jewellery industry here, and that makes it a very important issue for Home Affairs. So it is of incredible value that we have the Minister of State for Home Affairs to address the World Diamond Conference.
Today, World Diamond Conference, I welcome all dignitaries on dais, all delegates, press, ladies and gentlemen. I stand here before you, firstly as a representative of Government of India, which has extended its full support to the industry in our effort to boost the economy of our great country. We have greatly admired the diamond industry, which is today acknowledged as a global leader in manufacturing, and we will make every initiative that you take to help you scale new heights in years ahead. At the same time, I also stand before you as one who has been closely associated with your industry for the last many decades. Today I represent Banaskantha district in the Lok Sabha, which is home to so many entrepreneurs who have taken this industry to its heights, who called Parapuris. Before I became a full-time political and social worker, I was also a part of this industry. So I understand its strengths, the challenges it faces, and its many achievements. I would like to acknowledge today the stellar role that the industry has played in the development of Gujarat. We all know the huge strides that the city of Surat has taken in the last few decades. I would also like to share with you that this development has not been restricted to one city, it is all over India. In fact, there are numerous smaller towns and even villages across the state which host fairly well-developed diamond manufacturing units. The advantage working with an industry that offers the best facility to its workers have benefited thousands of people in different parts of the states and nation. Areas that were once considered backward are now making a rapid stride towards modernity, as our PM said, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, collective efforts, inclusive growth. May diamond industry serve the interests of the whole world. I would like to acknowledge the deep social commitment of this industry. Palanpur in Banaskantha district is a shining example of how the diamond trees have brought back the profits they have earned into development work. There are hundreds of villages across the district which have benefited from the diamond industry and today have access to modern educational and medical facilities. I am really thankful to them. The industry has now been working closely with the government to ensure that benefit of its progress is spread more widely across the state of Gujarat and the entire country. They have drawn up plans to make technology accessible to the small entrepreneurs and skilled artisans in remote locations. I would like to express my appreciation and support to these efforts. We will continue to dialogue with the industry to ensure continuing all-round progress for the people in different parts of the country. The conference today is very important event for the global diamond industry, and I would like to extend my best wishes that the government of all you. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to our country. We look forward to playing host to all of you many more times in the year ahead. Before I conclude, I would like to mention that the government is making every effort to create an environment where business can flourish and grow. We have been interacting with the representative of the industry and hope to create a policy framework that will make it possible for you from various parts of the world to set up business here and work with our extremely talented artisans and designers. As our visionary Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi has stated that there will be a red carpet for industry and no more red tape. After 30 years, first time the full majority government has formed in the visionary leadership of Shri Narendra Modi ji. He has brought the name and aim of the nation by visiting world over, and world has accepted his visionary leadership in such a beautiful atmosphere for the nation. This conference is held. I am confident this conference will bring good success. My well wishes to the organizer of this conference and my best wishes that the discussion over the next 2 days will help you chart out a new course, one that will take your business to new levels, benefit the thousands of people who work with you in India and other parts of the world. I take opportunity to serve diamond industries by my good office for you people to coordinate Government of India. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Minister, for that resounding support from the Government of India. I know all of us here today are extremely grateful to the Government for such a warm welcome and such a splendid reception for all our delegates from around the world. Now over to Mr. Anup Mehta for a brief word from the Bharat Diamond Bourse, which is playing a very important role in the diamond industry, and especially so today.
Honourable Minister of Mineral Resources, Honourable Minister of State of Home Affairs, Chairmen, Presidents, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Indian diamond industry, I wish to extend a very special thanks to all of you for joining us in Delhi for the World Diamond Conference. It is only fitting that this first ever global event of its kind is taking place in the capital city of India, the country which has emerged in the last few decades as the capital of the global diamond industry. Certainly, this conference is going to be a truly memorable event with important implications for our industry and the way we go about doing our business in the future. We have already heard some insightful speeches from the guests at the welcome session, and we are sure to have much more discussions going over the next 2 days. A special thanks to all the eminent personalities on the dais for sharing their views and setting a tone for the next 2 days. Every session of this conference will have presentations by very senior representatives of some of the world's most important companies and organizations in each sphere of the diamond industry and the whole chain. Each segment of this industry has its own importance, but when we all come together on a single platform to discuss and try and evolve common perspectives on key issues, then significance of the event gets multiplied many times over. All of you are familiar with the Indian diamond industry, and most of you have visited the ultra-modern facilities at Bharat Diamond in Bombay, as well as seen the high-tech factories in Surat. BDB, which was inaugurated in 2010, is now the epicenter of the industry in Bombay. It is the financial and trading hub of our industry through which polished diamonds are exported to destinations all over the world. In the days to come, we now hope to make it a hub for trading in rough diamonds as well. With the Indian government giving its nod of approval to this suggestion from the industry, we will soon have a special notified zone where such trading can take place. It will provide an enormous boost to the industry across Bombay and Surat. On behalf of the Indian diamond industry, I would also like to express my thanks to all those who have made this event possible. Particularly, I would like to mention the support and encouragement we received from the Honorable Minister of State of Commerce and Industry, Sri Nirmala Sitharaman, the Commerce Minister, Commerce Secretary Mr. Rajiv Kher, and Mr. P.S. Raghavan, the Indian Ambassador to Moscow, and many other concerned officials from other departments. A special thanks also to Alrosa for its contribution to this event, and to all the speaker members of the press, my colleagues from different parts of the global industry who have gathered in Delhi for this event. Welcome once again to India and to an event that I believe will be an important landmark in the growth of this industry globally. Thank you.
We are on the stage, and I believe that they're coming through now. We are going to have individual members being presented. The Minister for Mining from South Africa, Vipul Shah, is going to present now with an appreciation of his presence here today at the World Diamond Conference. And to the Minister, we say a very big thank you for travelling so Thank you. Thank you, Minister. And if I could ask Pankaj Parekh to present to the Minister of State for Home Affairs of India our token of appreciation. Safari is presenting to Ernest Bloom. You're presenting to Ilya Rashin. And Alex Popov, I was going to say the rainmaker extraordinaire. Please come up to present to Mr. Edward Asher. Thank you. Thank you very much for your attention. That concludes the formalities for this first very important opening session of the World Diamond Conference here in New Delhi. We will be taking a short tea break, so back in 10 minutes in the room. I know my colleague...
3-4 minutes just to give the setting, and then I'll ask the panel members to come up. The first slide says my name, but it has the second name is Pranay. All of you know Pranay, and for the last 6 to 7 years I haven't done anything without Pranay, and he's just a terrific colleague. So I can make a lot of noise, but he's the brains, and it's yours. Next slide. You know my pipeline, and I don't want to say too much about it, but just in the context of what we are doing here. At the end of the day, we're talking about growing demand and growing, but we need to have the product. And I want us all to realize that we are, like I said this morning, in the middle. If we have worldwide, we get about $15 billion out of the earth. That gets into about $22 billion polished. In other words, the entire added value of the industry